came from the city, it was a pity.
Ballymun Is Brilliant is a creative climate arts project. It's trying to use creativity in the community to get people talking about climate, to get people interested, and hopefully to encourage people to take action at the end. It's funded by Creative Ireland, and it's with 3 project partners, so ourselves, GAP Ireland, and also working with the Rediscovery Centre and the Access Centre as well. The project runs over 2 years, so we started in September 2023, and we're hoping to have our final big event in October 2025.
Access has been here for just under 25 years. And it is an arts and community resource centre, which is really important because everything we do has community and creativity completely intermingled. Fundamentally, we are a space for the community to engage in creativity, to come and enjoy a cup of tea or a coffee, and to have a space that is theirs. And that stems from dance classes. It can be events in the theatre, sometimes it's gallery exhibitions, whatever it is that the community as a creative force wants and needs, we try to deliver.
Okay, well, the Rediscovery Centre is Ireland's national centre for the circular economy, and we've been in Ballymun for 20 years. So the main idea of a circular economy is to make waste a thing of the past. And we are based here in the old boiler house that used to heat the Ballymun flats. And instead of being torn down, the building was repurposed to showcase the benefits of paint and textile reuse and furniture and bike repair. And we also share skills within schools and the community.
Why I think Ballymun is a great place for a project like this to happen is, I think, because there's already a very strong community basis. It's not as fragmented as other areas where people are doing their own things. So in a way, it's easier to come in and present something or ask something, because people are more likely to answer from the heart. You know, they're more likely to see themselves in it or not in it and say it.
The most politically engaged and activist people don't think of themselves in any way politicized or in any way as climate activists or as environmentalists, but they are kind of building the infrastructure that enables people to have that deeper engagement with nature and with climate and with those issues, because they are building strong community networks for people to have a bit of freedom to think more creatively outside of just bare existence.
Projects like this, you're literally just coming to a centre you probably already know, like the Access, and engaging with something hands-on with people who are lovely and supportive, and it just sparks things for people, I think, and I think a lot of seeds have been planted.
Well, it's that classic rising tides lifts all boats, but also all collaboration makes us stronger, and the more we can partner together, the more embedded our work can be. Access, as one of the very first arts organisations to have a green arts department, to be focused on work that is both creative and environmentally focused. Rediscovery with its national platform, working towards circular economies and sustainable practices. And then Global Action Plan, who are also based in the Access building and are good friends of ours and good partners, but to build that into a 2-year project where we're working in tandem very closely means that our work is embedded, it's stronger, and it also means that as we move into the hopefully next phase of Ballymun Is Brilliant and other projects that might come along, that we've developed a really strong working relationship.
GAP already had quite strong relationships with different community groups in Ballymun, but we wanted to make sure that we met with as many people as possible. So we went to community centres, we went to kind of places where smaller groups were, and we went and had the chats with them instead of just calling a general consultation and then people who already knew us or people who were interested in the topics would come to us. We really went like deep down and had chats with as many people as possible. I think that was a really important part, to be able to meet more people, and then therefore they would be more interested in engaging in the project because we'd come to them and seen what they were interested in. And that actually informed a lot of the themes that we did later in the project. We didn't start out with specific themes. A lot of the themes came from chatting with people, seeing what was bubbling up, seeing what people were interested in, and then trying to form a lot of the art pieces around that.
My first official title, which I think it still is Embedded Artist, that came about just from the importance of having an artistic input, or how artists work or think from the very start of developing and modeling and growing the project, rather than coming up with, let's say, a brief, a context, what we would like, and then inviting an artist's voice. So that's, I suppose, the aspect of the embedded, in that the artist's voice or practice is part of the very structure and fiber of how things are with this project, rather than an add-on or something that happens at the end or as the final piece. Sophie is a print artist, and for Ballymun Is Brilliant, she's doing textile print. This ties in with a swap shop project that happens and that is really successful, and so expanding on that idea of circularity in fashion.
I applied because I was trolling through the Visual Artist Ireland open call page, and I saw that the open call for the project looking for kind of creative facilitators. And it sounded interesting to me, but I didn't know much about it. So I saw that they were having like a Zoom call with, I think, Abby and Neve, like later on that day. And I had nothing on. So I was like, okay, I may as well join it. You know, I'll listen to it and see what it's about and find out some more. And I really liked how they were approaching things. It seemed a lot more accessible because like I'm not an authority on climate justice or anything like that. So I liked how they were looking for artists to approach this. And I've just finished up with a screen printing project in the Jocus. So I really thought it would be quite interesting to continue on with screen printing on textiles and kind of upcycle clothing in that way. So I guess when thinking of the project, the last thing I wanted was for me to come in and be like, well, this is how we're doing things. I'm doing this, this, and this, and you're gonna have to like it or lump it. So it's a project for them, so it should serve the community within it. So I really wanted to make sure that I was focusing their opinions and what they want in it. So today at the swap shop, it's kind of like a taster for what the workshops will be, but the workshops are really like flexible in nature. So it really depends on like what the participants who come want to do, whether it's exploring this part or lino printing or screen printing. I'm kind of there as a creative facilitator, but very hands-off in terms of like, well, there's no point me coming in being like, all the designs are going to be this, this, and this, and that's not what they want. Like, I hope by showing people how they could do this themselves and do this at home, and it's really easy and it's accessible, that will inform future projects I do, and that people will leave here being like, yeah, I'm going to do that again. I'm going to do this myself.
Gabriel from the Walls Project. They are doing a mural, and this mural is coming from workshops and interactions around climate. And this project is exciting because it's one of our, I think it's the only permanent, visible work that we will have in Ballymun after this project.
In the very beginning, I met with community, because in the group of community, you can hear many voices. Sometimes it's really hard to put in every single voice on the paper, so why I'm coming and I'm asking questions, including visual language, which help me, like an artist or a different artist, to using non-verbal communication and some aspects putting on the wall. The most important aspect about community was talking about. I was working with 2 classes in the school. I was working with John, who explained me extremely beautiful way a story about pockets, forest pockets, library people people who actually look after also art, people who look after also tidy towns. So everyone who have a voice look at Ballymun in the same way, but slightly through different perspective. So for me, what's that mean? More shapes and better colors.
And so Niamh, she is doing a project mapping Ballymun, but this map is the spirit map of Ballymun. So this is really going beyond pure geography and drawing on things like myths, stories, other beings in this area.
We've been mulling that over. What does spirit mean? I guess it is quite an intangible thing, and the meaning does kind of shift depending on if you know, beliefs and stuff like that, and what kind of cultures you come from. For me, I think a spirit, well, we've been talking about spirit of place, so that's kind of, for me, it's everything that is and was, and the various lives that have lived and afterlives that continue to live and be held on land and in a place. So that's, you know, from your floras and your faunas and your fungis and your bacterias up to a big old oak tree. Yeah. Like, well, one thing really is that I'm hoping my, like, one true wish would be that, like, the map could, like, spark people making their own maps, you know. And again, I think, like, I'm firmly in the belief that, you know, all human beings have an innate creativity. There is no bad art. Well, sometimes there is, but I'd rather have bad art than no art, right? So I would hope that, you know, if people were interacting with this map, that it would, like, spark that feeling. The best feedback would be like, oh, I could do that. That's the best feedback I would hope for, and that, yeah, people would be inspired to go out and do their own versions of it or contribute. Yeah.
Hi, my name is Brendan Shanahan. I'm a bursary artist in the context of the Ballymun Is Brilliant project. Well, there is a thing called the Ballymun Call, and this was mentioned to me by somebody who lived in the flats. The Ballymun Call was really people talking to each other at different levels. So that's reflected in the song. Hey Mary down there on the second floor, you coming up for a cup of tea? I'll be up in a while, by Giant's Mead aisle. Are those lifts still working? So that's sort of an image. The historic image would be highwaymen did abound in the town of the shrubland. Duels were fought and people died. Still we have St. Pappen. A good song will very often resonate emotionally with people. And emotions are not logical. So we get a deeper connection through a good song. And I certainly hope the song for Ballymun, from what I can see and from what I've heard and some of the feedback, it's resonating with a lot of people in Ballymun itself.
I came from the city, it was a pity, left all my friends behind. My father said I know, but we gotta go and find a place to
Cabbage and
live.
kraut. Oh, now this one is around food. So their project is really looking at different areas as well as recipes, biodiversity, and all the work and communities that's already happening in Ballymun around community gardens, tidy towns, etc.
When I saw the call out, I think I was immediately drawn to it because Maria and myself had a couple of creative projects under our belt already as Cabbage and Kraut, and both of us really were interested in community engagement and climate action and all of these topics. So it was really nice to have this structure for us to learn a little bit more about how to engage with the community and also dig into these kind of topics that we were drawn to in terms of climate action. I think food is such an easy in into a conversation topic that's way too big. So if you say to people climate change, climate action, biodiversity, it's the quickest way to just shut people down and feel that this is nothing to do with anything that's relevant to them in their daily life. But if you talk about bringing people out to sit under a tree, or where's a nice place to eat, or what's a good food memory, that's kind of an instant way of everyone has something to say about that topic.
I would say we had the best time at the foraging day that we did. Yeah, it was just a great day, and we ended up doing it in a part of the area that we weren't actually expecting to do it in, but it was actually great because it was right across the road here, and it was great to kind of see people looking at the area in a different way than what they had before, and we had a great laugh.
So I first seen the project actually on a little poster up in the Axis in Ballymun. I was kind of trying to engage myself more in local community stuff, and I thought it was a great way to get involved. And through that, I've actually engaged with other organisations because of Sarah and Maria, with John, who's part of the Men's Shed, Tidy Towns and stuff like that. So yeah, it really helped me. I've never experienced what plants can actually do to you, especially the ones that are just around us. It's crazy, you know, antihistamine teas, stuff like that's like unbelievable stuff, and it's in the community, which is very good, you know.
Hi, I'm Ciara Hession, and I'm a face painting artist working alongside Ballymun Is Brilliant. This time last year, the guys mentioned the bursary thing, and me and Niamh snowballed an idea for a face painting project. And at the time I had that imposter syndrome and I didn't go ahead with the bursary. I kind of sabotaged it for myself. And then towards the end of the year I felt really ill. And then obviously I was fine after that in January. And then a few months later Niamh rang me and said, oh, that project, would you still be interested in it? And there was just something in me that was kind of like, well, they're going to support me. I should support myself now. This is a sign. So I just said, yeah, I'll do it. But the whole time I had that imposter syndrome, and each time I went over, I had a chat with them on the phone or through emails or just even discuss what ideas I had. They gave me little tiny bits of encouragement in each conversation, or kind of pushed me towards being just a yes man about it and saying, well, how could this go wrong? You know, what have I got to lose in life? So my art's always been on the back burner, and face paint has never been the forefront of it. It's always been just like a little outlet for me to kind of keep myself going. I never even really took it that serious. So this is kind of, I think it's rehabilitating myself back into my creative process by using what I once ignored, if that makes sense. It's kind of full circle from being a really young kid to enjoying it, to using it throughout the years, to never really pursuing it, to now using it as the main topic of a project. So the project in itself was about climate action. So I asked Shauna what Ballymun meant to her, what she thinks of when she's a child, or what she remembers, what stood out to her, and it was the bees in the jar story. So when she brought up the bees in the jar, we both just knew that was it.
My name's Adam Mohammed. I'm a spoken word poet from Ballymun, and yeah, my project is a Ballymun blend. So I suppose it's a collection of poems, short stories, interviews and group discussions, all about kind of life in Ballymun, nature, history, memories. Really what I was trying to do was introduce the ideas of introduce kind of climate issues and introduce the ideas of like social justice in a kind of relatable way, in a way that, you know, the language wasn't too off-putting, and kind of get people's opinions about that. So I suppose the process first was working with kind of doing workshops and calling out for material, whether it was poems or questions. Where people didn't provide any poems, I'd send them like kind of leading questions, and I'd kind of get their answers back. So I was using a lot of different platforms. Like people would be sending me things through email, through Instagram, WhatsApp, and then I'd be doing the in-person workshops in like the youth clubs, with all kind of different groups around Ballymun of all ages. Everybody has a story to tell, but some people want to tell you it, or some people want to write it, or some people want to put it in rhyming. So it was kind of like an eye-opening experience for me, just knowing that there's other ways than kind of sitting down and writing. But it'll definitely serve me going forward, like the fact that I've like interviewed people, and yeah, it was fun, like fun interviewing people. I think you just kind of get to know a different side of them.
My name is Jen Harrington and I'm an artist and a community weaver as part of the Ballymun Is Brilliant project. So I've crocheted for a long time, probably since about 2010, and I just taught myself on YouTube and stuff like that. And my art practice before was kind of just doing some mural work and drawing. I really like digital painting and stuff. And then I kind of thought, I just thought a lot of contemporary textile and weaving and knitting and needle lace art was really appealing to me, and I liked the idea that I could try to branch out from 2D into 3D with it. It also, I just think because so many of the themes that you see with crochet are floral and reflect aspects of nature, that there was just a kind of an immediate link there for me. So Plarn is plastic yarn. A lot of people make it by just cutting up bags and then they'll just kind of weave that into a big ball, but I actually learned a technique where you ply it so it ends up twisted and tensile like standard yarn or standard wool. And once I started learning that, it just really sparked something really interesting. And what happened from there for me was my perception of value of something so commonplace changed. And that was really interesting to me. So I wasn't just sticking to using cotton, which in itself is very unsustainable in the way it's kind of mass produced for yarn. But then to go into Plarn, I started picking up bags off the street that I found, and the perception then of the thing I was making was transformed through the labour of it. So the fact that it took so long to hand ply and then crochet, for example, the plastic bag that I made, really changed my perception of value. Like the thought of that being damaged or lost on a bus, I don't think I'd ever recover from it.
I came from the city, it was a pity, left all my friends behind.
What we're hoping that Ballymun Is Brilliant will leave as a legacy is that GAP's work here in Ballymun will have been strengthened. We've met so many new people, we've learned so much, we've heard so many new voices. So for ourselves it's been great. I hope also that we can build on this for future programmes.
At the moment I'm not working, so it gave me an opportunity to keep myself busy and experience new stuff. I think a lot more young people should be doing it, because I think a lot of people just go, oh, you need to get a job, but they actually don't know what to do in their life. So this gives us an opportunity to do these kind of things, you know? Find out what your actually inner ambitions are about.
My first project was with GAP when I was 17, doing Robbie or Rubbish, so it's still there. It's after coming full circle again, and that was 15, 16 years ago. So I do think there's this strong, rooted, environmental friendly community in Ballymun that want to see it get better. I think those people have such good energy, that won't get lost. You know, it'll only get better and stronger.
I think the legacy of Ballymun Is Brilliant is an appreciation of the beauty and value of everyday things, like wildflowers or birds, sharing resources within the community, and also listening to each other.
Over a long, long period, this was the first bursary that I ever got. And psychologically that changed an awful lot of things for me. It sort of meant, yes, there is some recognition now that you are actually a singer-songwriter, and what's more, we are giving you a bursary as a result of that. And psychologically that meant a huge difference for me, because now I know that I'm good at what I do. I always felt I could do, and I felt I was good at what I did, but now other people are saying, yes, you are. So I thought that was great.
Yeah, what I found is that so many people have found their spark or their seeds, and they've worked on it and formed all these beautiful kind of cross-pollinating relationships that I think that needs to continue. And I think we've only really scratched the surface. of the just seemingly unlimited potential and talent that's here.
Este barrio, Ballymun este en mí, aquí pertenezco. Cycle your bicycle and your tricycle, discover and renew. We want clean air, some trees to spare, better place to live. Lords and the gentry came here aplenty, they own this hallowed ground. Barons of screen from the county Meath, yes, it sounds obscene. Highwaymen did abound in the town of Shrubland. Jews were fought and people died, still we have St. Pappen. Dan and his van and the carpet man, Mr. Whippy's ice cream. Make-ups, break-ups and fast cars, part of who we are. This is where I live.